Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 5 of the Grove podcast. My name is Moz, your host, and today I am joined by Tabs
Good evening.
and Whale.
Good day, fine gentlemen.
Paul was meant to join us today on this pod, and I was looking really forward to having him on, but unfortunately he messaged us this morning to say he wasn't very well. So, on behalf of Tabs and Whale, I would like to wish Paul a speedy recovery. Get well soon, and we're thinking of you, mate. I know I do this at the start as well of every episode, but everyone needs to know who the Grove are. The Grove are a group of 60 plus friends from all over the world who love one thing and one thing only: Arsenal Football Club. Now, you might be wondering, how do I get into the Grove? Is it a closed group? Is it a secret society? The answer, I'm afraid, is yes, it is. You just have to listen to the pods and hope one day an invite will be extended. It's almost like Scientology. You just don't know how to join it, but somehow you find yourself in it. Without further ado, I just want to say thank you so much for your support, for your listens. We're hitting milestones after milestones. I really appreciate it. We all do. We're going to talk very briefly about reflections on Liverpool. And I'm going to let Tabs, I'm going to let you take this away. Go for it.
Yeah, thank you, Moz. I rewatched some of the game, the first half and a bit of the second half, and blimey, we were so good. We were so good. I didn't even realize it, and even we knew on the day that what a result it was, but actually looking at the details, how we set up, it was amazing. And we stopped Liverpool playing. You know, they'd only lost one game in the league before, and the stats speak for themselves. Like, you know, they only had one shot on goal in the whole game, and they had 45 in the previous 4 games. Their XG was 0.4, and it was 3.5 against, which is the worst they've had in Premiership history. So it just goes to show that even though we saw the dominance on the pitch, the stacks back that up, and it was they basically had no answers to us, and it was pretty embarrassing for them. Like, if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be shaking my head like, blimey, what the hell happened there? How did that happen? And so that was great, and just the majority, and just the whole feeling. I'm still buzzing from it, and yeah, it was really good to see, and just sort of a couple of elements I wanted to call out, particularly about how we played, was that we played, I think, without fear. In previous games, we were a bit more hesitant. We were sort of passing the ball around, taking that extra touch. This time, I don't think we were taking the easy option. We were, you know, we weren't going wide, recycling the ball, doing the horseshoe thing. You know, there was a lot more intent. It was a lot more forceful. It was a lot more direct and lovely play. And that was really nice to see that we tried to be a bit more, take a few more risks, but come with that risk reward. The fans have to also be patient and appreciate how we're doing things. So, you know, not trying to be perfect all the time, just getting the ball into dangerous positions, seeing what happens rather than trying to find that perfect moment. So that was great to see. So well, how have you thought about the game since?
Yeah, agree with a lot that you had to say just there. First off, I'd like to say happy to be back with the three amigos. For all the younger listeners out there, hot little tip for you: Google Three Amigos. Great movie. Okay, you can thank me later. Now back to the game. Great to get that win, man. Prior to this game, I believe Liverpool was just one loss in the last 33 Prem matches or something to that effect. So, like, we had a red hot team that we went against, and we got the win. And it's disappointing, and I hate using this term, but the mainstream media, man, like, we can't do anything good enough. Like, we're the piñata. They love to hate on us, but it's as you guys said a bit earlier, until we win a major trophy, this is what's going to happen. Until Arteta wins a major trophy. I mean, I think it was Sky or TNT BT, whatever they call themselves, did a whole freaking piece on Klopp's celebration and how amazing he is for it. He's way worse than Arteta, but he's got some big time silverware, so you're afforded that once you prove that you can win. So I'm just waiting on that from us. Get the big ear trophy, get the Prem. You know what? Also get that other one that I like too, the League Cup, and then we can celebrate. And we can celebrate as much as we want. So yeah, man, that's where I'm at.
I really, I really agree with what you guys said. You've summed it up perfectly. I mean, Tab's as eloquent as ever, and Wales still hanging on to this Carabao Cup discussion, which I'm going to leave. Um, but one thing that really struck me was, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to listen to Talk Sport or see the clip going about from Jim White, who's pretty much kind of defending Arteta, for the celebration and saying, well, what's Jamie Carragher won? Has he won the Premier League? So why is he, as a pundit as well, my opinion is that as a pundit for a broadcaster that's meant to be impartial, you are essentially digging out a club that, yes, your team lost against. However, you're meant to be impartial. And Gary Neville, he has, credit where credit's due, been impartial in the past about Arsenal and has given us credit when we win. But what was telling was Jamie Carragher he was just jealous, wasn't he? We absolutely destroyed them. We shouldn't have even conceded against them, and that's where the anger came from. What was really funny, I've got a few friends that support Liverpool, and all week they've been saying to me, "Oh, great result for Arsenal, great result." No, it wasn't. That's just how we play. That, my friends, is football heritage. That is how Arsenal Football Club now play their football. I have not seen anything different on the weekend than what I have for the last couple of seasons, even if not more than that. So I was really impressed. Um, I must say that the
Yeah.
two signings from Chelsea that we have made, spectacular, right? Jorginho and Havertz. I mean, I was skeptical about Kai Havertz, and a lot of fans on the weekend were still skeptical about Kai Havertz. But watching the game back, I watched the game back fully just to see how many times I could spot myself in the crowd from the front row. But watching the game back was really, really interesting. Kai Havertz had their defence on toast. I loved his performance. He is that target man player that can hold the ball up, use his strength, get out of tight positions, and just get the team flowing into an attack. And Jorginho, I mean, what a performance. Now that I've had time to reflect on it, what a performance. What do you guys think?
No, no, I agree. I mean, in terms of Carragher and the celebration police, it is lazy narratives, and they're just trying to drive engagement. They're just trying to say, "Oh, let's let's clip this up and let's drive engagement." And Arsenal, anything about Arsenal will drive the numbers on Twitter, on Instagram, on whatever. And also he's doing it to deflect away from how poor Liverpool was. So if he says, "Oh, look at Martin Odegaard, get down the tunnel," whatever, it means you're talking about that and not how poor Liverpool were and not how good Arsenal were. So it's just saltiness and it's what you expect from lazy journalism, which is a shame because actually on Monday Night Football he was actually doing quite a good explanation in parts about how we set up and how we defended, and in terms of Kai and how we played, yeah, that first goal pretty much summed up everything that's good about Arsenal. It was so sweet, first time passing under pressure. uh, you know it was practically perfection, other than the finishing from Kai, but that had more to do with the angle of his approach. He was too straight on rather than coming in at more of an angle, which didn't give him the best opportunity, which we'll forgive. Yeah, it was actually just beautiful to play, and watching that pinpoint passing, it was great, and Jorginho was part of that as well. But also, I love the off the ball stuff as well. And the fact that Saka was keeping up with play, not assuming that Kai's going to score, a bit like Martinelli did, chasing down and seeming lost cause. When a team is playing well and they're all respecting each other and being a proper team is when they're there to back each other up just in case. They're not just leaving it so, well, you get on with it. They're there. And it's something I scream at my son at Sunday football all the time. Chase down those lost causes, keep up with the play. So, and it's great to. And it's great to see that, and it's good that Kai Havertz and he's not just that target man up front. he was actually coming back into midfield a lot more, joining up with Odegaard as like 2 number 10s. And the Liverpool defence didn't know what to do with that. Or do I go with him? Do I stay? And that uncertainty then creates spaces, and they don't know what to do. So it was in essence like we've had a double pivot with Jorginho and Rice, which worked beautifully. Then 2 in front of them with Odegaard and Havertz, and then the other 2 were wider were Martinelli and Saka. And Liverpool maybe weren't expecting that, and so the Jesus injury maybe actually helped us have a perfect team to take on that opposition.
Will, anything to add
Yeah.
to that amazing description?
Yeah, it's hard to it's hard to follow that up. I'll start with just sort of piggyback on what you were saying about impartiality. Um, it's my opinion that Sky isn't even trying anymore. I mean, these guys might as well come in full kits. I mean, could you imagine Souness and Keane and their full kit wankers coming on there? Because that's what it looks like. They're so like on their side, on their teams that like it's blatant. But that's where Sky is going. Someone has told them through social media, some Gen A, Z, B, A, I don't even know, has told them that fan channels are the way to go. And that's what they're moving towards. It's almost like they have the reach and the deep pockets of mainstream media, but they're acting like a fan channel. And it's a little frustrating because like I watch a lot of North American sports, and you have former players in, and they'll be doing like the color commentary and what have you, but they're not as blatant with their biases. Almost to the point where I think like the networks over there are telling them like, you're here to be sort of impartial. Like, yeah, we all know you used to play for, let's say, the Cowboys, but the cheerleaders are on the field. We're not paying you to be a cheerleader here. Like we're paying you for your, like your knowledge of the game. But that seems just the way things are going right now.
Can I ask you guys a question based on that? Do you think that there's no real representation from Arsenal, no permanent pundit, if you like, from Arsenal, because there's kind of a, the media love to hate Arsenal, or is there no media representation for Arsenal because there's just no one available?
No, I think there's a couple of things. One, actually, we have Ian Wright on the BBC, and he's passionately Arsenal, and you see it. But what he isn't is anti everyone else, and he's not hard on Liverpool or not. He'll give them their flowers when they need it and stuff. Whereas you can see Carragher and Neville, I think because they played in the era where we were good and we dominated them in parts, they just can't accept that we're actually really good again, and they think the reserve of all this sort of celebrating or certain way of playing is for like Liverpool and Man United and not like clubs like Arsenal. And I don't think Arsenal had ever been sort of accepted amongst that group. It's always been Liverpool. The UK has always been very much England has always very much been all about Liverpool and Man United. There's that George Graham talked about it, but even back in the 80s about that nobody liked us in the media. So it's fine. It's annoying. What annoys me is that I have to pay money to watch football and I have to listen to them. If it was free to air, then I could do it. But I pay my money. I pay my Sky subscription, and that's the best analysis they've got. That's the best they can do. Not, well, you know what? Arsenal took Liverpool apart because of X, Y, and Z. Not, oh, get down the, stop celebrating. That's just lazy, and but we have no choice. We have no choice, so we have to accept it.
What
Yeah.
really made me laugh was, sorry, Will, did you want to add anything to that?
Yes, I was going to say I agree.
Go for it. Oh, perfect.
I agree.
Thank you, Will.
What I really wanted to mention that was really funny was I'm quite worried, actually, guys. I'm really worried that William Saliba is turning into someone like Mustafi. I
Stop
mean,
it.
a couple of mistakes recently. Are we looking at Mustafi 2.0? I mean, what is Saliba doing? He is not meant to be. Oh, yeah, no, but on a serious level, it's funny to see obviously we were at the game, so we never got to see the tweets live, right? And I love watching the game on TV for that reason. You can follow the match on Twitter and see so many different opinions from so many fans. And when you go onto Twitter now, it doesn't have it on chronological order anymore. It just has the most kind of engaged with tweets, right? And one of the ones that I'd seen was an Arsenal fan just lamenting William Saliba and asking, where did we get this guy from? Who is this guy? Having a proper meltdown, obviously at half time. I looked at the timestamp and it was like 5:15 or 5:18 p.m. So it must have been at half time. Just chuckling to myself, thinking, "Oh, if only you knew what we went through in the past. Like, if only you seen the Arsenal teams of old." It was quite funny. In
No,
terms of,
indeed. But joking aside, he's still young. We forget. How is he? 20, 21? This is like his second season in the Premiership. He's going to make mistakes, and it's fine. It's how you recover and all the rest of it. But So I made the joke about him being Mustafi 2.0, and like, well, there we go. Just to drive a bit of conversation. But no, we love him. We forgive his errors because the good stuff is so good, and the trajectory he's on. We just enjoy it while it lasts, because unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be with us for more than 3-4 years. But let's enjoy it because he's so good.
I must admit, I did. Bukayo Saka put a TikTok up of him at the, just like a montage video on his TikTok, just of the game and things. And I must admit, I was that guy that commented saying, "Bukayo, please never leave this football club, ever. Become a legend." So I'm going to do the same with William Saliba. Although I do have a sneaky suspicion that someone like PSG or Real Madrid will come in for him with a big money move in the next 3-4 years, and I don't think, unless we're winning the treble every year, I don't know if you'll be able to turn that down. Just moving on to, just wrapping up kind of Liverpool and looking ahead to West Ham. It's just really interesting to hear a stat from you, Tabs, that, I think it was your son that was it. Is it Gianluca? Your son had said about 20 goals from 20 out of the 47 goals. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have been from subs, which is a very high number. That must be one of the highest, or if not the highest in the league, right?
No, that's great. And look, even if it's not 100% correct, it sounds about right, because our subs are coming on scoring goals. We've seen it loads of time. Even recently, Martinelli a couple. We got Trossard scoring. They're impacting, and I think there was a stat out today about the partnerships, even like not just subs scoring goals, but subs partnering together to set each other up to score goals. So, it comes back to Wales' point that he raised last week after the Liverpool game, when it was, Arteta's getting better at his substitutes. He's making them at better times. They're impactful substitutes. So it speaks to his ability to make substitutes correctly, but then also the quality of the squad, that they can make a difference. We have game changers from the bench, so we may not always feel like it, but the stats don't lie. Could always be better. But I think that's in a great place to be. If you've got that on your bench, then you can get to a game 20 minutes to go, 30 minutes to go, whatever. It's a draw. You need to put the game to bed. Hey, bring on Martinelli if he's on the bench, or bring on Trossard, bring on Smith Rowe, bring on Vieira. That makes a difference. But also the other end, the fact that Tommy's coming back, that's really going to help. We've got Kivior that came on. So even at the other end, we've got options at the back as well. So I think I'm in a really good place with this team. If it wasn't for bloody Man City, we'd be winning this league.
Yeah. Our bench, we've got a short bench in my opinion. So, I mean, assuming Partey stays hurt, which I will always assume he will be, we've got, as far as I'm concerned, 2 or 3 guys that could actually make an impact that we can bring off the bench. And to your point, obviously a team like City has more, but we have to work with what we've got. To be fair, you probably don't need more than 2 to 3 impact players coming off of your bench. I think you can win a couple of trophies with that sort of short bench. So it doesn't worry me greatly. As far as this game coming up, I mean, they've beaten us twice this year already, and I'll probably show my age a little bit here, but I mean, I think this game's going to be like a WWF like Royal Rumble grudge match. I mean, this might be Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper. They don't like us. We took their best player and we told them all about it while we were doing it, and then they beat us twice. So we don't like that. It's going to be interesting, man. I'd love to be in that stadium for the game. I'll tell you that much. But unfortunately, I'll just be watching it from home.
What I just wanted to mention as well before we move on to West Ham is just about a comment that Tom had made in the chat, and Tom will be buzzing that we've actually mentioned him on the pod. So fair play. He was just saying how, and it kind of relates to West Ham, I guess, but more so for our home games, is how can we bring the Liverpool atmosphere to the Emirates on a regular basis? Do you guys have any suggestions? My answer would be that we can't, because it only happens for the Spurs, the United, the Liverpool, the potentially the Chelsea, the Man City games. But is there a way that we can bring an atmosphere like that? Because I know we mentioned it on Sunday night when we recorded the pod, but it was just unbelievable.
No, I think it's the big games. We always have big atmospheres, and it's always again based on some tension or the team that we're playing. But if it's in the Palace at home, mid-morning, expected easy win, you don't get it. I think we continue winning, we continue playing well. The atmosphere will be fine. It'll be great. But it's so hard to replicate that for every game. We aren't that sort of club. We'll do it when the big teams come to town, or if it's an important game that we have to win. So, I think it will start lifting again, because again, when things go well on the pitch, it goes well off the pitches as well. But in terms of getting that intensity and things like that, I think it's just quite hard to maintain. But it's not going to be an issue going forward.
If Wale was to respond to my Red Army chant against Crystal Palace, I think the atmosphere would have been electric in the stadium, because they would have heard his baritone voice, that loud American Red Army, and that would have got everyone riled up. So, Wale, I'm blaming you for the lack of the atmosphere.
I want a good day. I want a good day, fine sirs chant. There we go.
Yes, it's like Tab says, man. We get up for the big games. When I say we, I mean the 60,000 plus that are that are in the Emirates. Unfortunately, we're not, like, my Apple Watch isn't going to say you're going to go deaf in 5 minutes if you don't get out of here when we're playing Nottingham Forest. It's just not the way it works, unfortunately. I'd love it to be that way. But yeah, it's the big matches, the big crowds, the big attitude. That seems to be what's happened. And I'm not necessarily upset about that if the atmosphere isn't the same as we've just experienced, as long as we get the win. So, Arsenal can do everything they want with promotions and this and that. It's all about the opponent that you're playing.
And speaking of which, the opponent that we play next is West Ham United. But before I go into the preview, I just want to ask everyone, stop what you're doing right now, hit the pause button, and then hit like. Don't hit the pause button yet, but if you have already, then you're listening to silence.
You're not hearing
this. Press play. Okay, so listen to this and then press pause, and then do as I say. Please hit like, hit share, hit comment, and pass this podcast on to every single person that you know that supports Arsenal. And you know what? Send it on to your Liverpool supporting friends as well. And send it on to your West Ham supporting friends, because what we're about to talk about next is the blueprint to how we're going to beat West Ham United. So 3 days to go, 2:00 kickoff on a Sunday. Quite like a 2:00 kickoff on a Sunday. Although, having said that, I've never really had good memories of 2 p.m. kickoffs. What I'm looking forward to the most, however, for the game is just we're in that kind of zone now. We've got really high momentum. We seem to be just playing really well. That break in Dubai done us the world of good, right? So I'm looking forward to just watching a really good performance. What I'm not looking forward to is West Ham just seem to be our kind of bogey team at the moment. The fans are just so hung up on Declan Rice moving, and that just gives them that little bit of motivation to see us do really badly and watch him give away penalties that then get saved, or watch him make a bad tackle or miss an interception or whatever. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. I I know I say this all the time, but I can't see anything past an Arsenal win. I really can't. West Ham have kind of fallen off a little bit recently. I think they're winless in was it 6 games, including FA Cup. So I mean, they lost to Bristol City in the replay of the FA Cup. They lost obviously 3-0 to West Ham most recently, but they've drawn against Sheffield United and Bournemouth in the last couple of games as well. So I really don't know what type of West Ham will turn up. I'm just not looking forward to it if their fans are up for it, which they will be, and that's why I'm not looking forward to it. Tabs, what do you think?
So in terms of what I'm looking forward to, just on a silly note, how we celebrate the win, because we will win. Yeah, I'd love them to do something just to put a nod to just how ridiculous these things, or maybe hopefully they over celebrate or something like that. But that would be fun. That'd be funny to see how they do that. In terms of what I'm not looking forward to, giving away set pieces in dangerous positions and then seeing James Ward-Prowse step up. It's the sort of thing we have less control over. You could give a free kick just in any random area around the box, or it might not even be a free kick, but the referee gives it, and then just So I don't know. I've got a picture in my head, and that blooming golf swing celebration. So yeah, I'd love it if we. If we had to give away fouls, we'd give it away 10, 20 yards away outside of the box, and take the hit there rather than letting them get close. So that's what I'm sort of looking forward to, and not looking forward to.
Looking forward to a win, like you guys have said. I mean, I feel this is it's hyperbolic. It's a must win. We can't follow up what happened last week like with a loss here. I mean, they almost all feel like must win games now, but you play the game that's in front of you. You play the game on the day. We absolutely have to win. And yeah, West Ham is going to give us 110%, and every other sports idiom or this and that you could possibly think of, they're going to be up for it. But we have a better team. The fact that they're playing at home, it gives them a slight advantage, but we should win. I don't feel that they'll be as defensive as some of the other teams that play us, and that's a testament to themselves. I believe that they feel, based on the fact that they've just beaten us twice already, that they can go out and get goals. I believe that that shouldn't be a problem for them. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game, and I'm just happy to see it. What do you guys think?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do think it is a must-win game for us, definitely, but by every stretch possible. However, what I would say is we need to follow the high emotion and the high energy of the Liverpool game and repeat it. I know it's tiring to do that, but I really do believe that we need to follow that emotion and have that kind of confidence throughout the whole 90 minutes. What I would say though is this game won't be as chaotic as the last. So whether we'll be able to replicate it fully, we'll wait to see. I am looking forward to it though. I think West Ham will. I mean, and Tabs, you had mentioned earlier on that West Ham potentially will play a low block, or how low a block they'll play. I don't know what you think. If you've, I don't really watch many West Ham games, if I'm being honest. But I mean, what do you reckon of how defensive they will be?
Yeah, it won't be like Liverpool. Yeah, the open spaces will be less. I think they will play like they've played with us before, like when they came to the Emirates, when we've gone there last year. They will sort of block, but it won't be that low, because I don't think the home crowd will accept that. I don't think it's Moyes' style. I think they've got some people on the break that can cause trouble, like Bowen and Kudus, who are sort of dangerous players. They have some skillful players in the middle. So yeah, so I think they will defend and we'll have the majority of the ball, but I think they'll be looking to attack more. So yeah, not as defensively minded as other teams that we've come across recently. And for us, yeah, it's what's going to be interesting is then, okay, so how do we break this team down again? What do you do? Is that being that patient, but also taking those risks, not trying to be perfect, just putting the ball into dangerous areas and see what happens there. And then it also depends on the team we put out. So, even just something like Zinni, Kivior, or even Tommy, now that he's back, depending on who plays there, we'll determine sort of how we sort of play out from the back, because I don't want to see Kivior inverting, because that's not his strength. Especially if we decide to play Jorginho and Rice again, let them take control of the ball in the middle. Let them be the people sort of dictating play, and let Kivior do his defensive duties, especially out the left against Kudus, against Bowen. So there are sort of a few factors, and yeah, I like us to play to the potential of the team that's out there, and it looks like we're changing, not sticking to rigid formations. I think Liverpool showed there's another way to play, with a 2-2-2, which is very different to what we've done before. So let's see how we as a team adapt, and this is part of the evolution of the team, evolution of Arteta. How do we adapt to these things? And it just takes time. And I think early in the year, people weren't seeing the progression, or they're getting frustrated that it wasn't bringing immediate results. But I think now we're gradually seeing it, and I think we're a bit more. We should be more patient with it. So that's sort of how I see it going.
Well, what do you reckon in terms of left back? Who do you think we will start? Because we technically have three options, right? We've got Zinchenko, who was substituted at halftime due to an injury, according to Arteta in the post-match presser. We have Kivior, who I thought made a really good account of himself when he came on against Liverpool. Didn't put a foot wrong. And Tomiyasu's back now as well, isn't he? So does Tomiyasu potentially start? Could he slot in there to the left back position? And I don't know what your thoughts were. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm keeping the team predominantly the same, but I'm taking Havertz out, assuming that Jesus is fit. I'm putting Jesus up front, and Zinni's out of there. Like I'm putting Tommy there. He's a better player in my opinion. So yeah, Zinni to the bench. Tommy at left back, J9 up top. I'm going to keep that same double pivot because I like the way that it worked. I like the way how that double pivot also forms that nice like little box with the four players in midfield. And if Arteta needs to make adjustments, at half or even 3/4 of the way through the match, he's proven to me at this point now I trust him in making the correct substitution. So I'm happy to go with, as I said, predominantly the same team. If Jesus is healthy, I put him there because I think he causes more problems than Havertz does up front. They're different problems, but I also believe he causes more problems. And I'm just much more comfortable with Tommy back there. From a defensive standpoint, I mean, he's relatively quick. He's clued up. He's got size. Like you're not I'm not worried about that diagonal ball. Like when Tommy's back there, he's just a bigger guy. He's going to get ahead on that. So I'm interested to see what the lineup's going to be. I'm also interested to try to look at some of these training pictures to see who's hiding and who's not, because as we know, we never find out until the last minute who's available, and I kind of like it that way.
Even Gabriel Jesus was out on the walk with the team on Sunday pre-match. He was seen around North London and wasn't in the squad. So we can never tell nowadays with Arteta. It's all just mind games. And I believe Saka was on the walk against when we played against City as well, wasn't he? So, but never started, never made the squad. But hey, without Jesus, we beat Liverpool, and without Saka, we beat Man City. So maybe we don't need these guys after all, right? That was a joke. Please, no one take that seriously. I'll probably get a comment about that, but it was a complete joke. I just wanted to read out a message that Soren had said in the chat. It was quite funny, actually. I found this quite funny. You guys would have seen the same as well. he said, "We have a real tussle ahead of us at West Ham. Those fuckers need a humbling." And it's so true about West Ham, right? The West Ham fans, they need to be humbled and put back into their place, so to speak. They are nothing more than a mid-table team who have won a European trophy. The worst European trophy as well. I think if Celtic or Rangers were in the Conference League and properly went for it, I think Celtic or Rangers could win it. So the fact that West Ham did means nothing. But Soren is actually joining us for the next pod after West Ham, so it'll be interesting to see if we've got the three points, and if the listeners want to hear more quality insights like fuckers getting humbled, then be sure to listen in on Monday next week. But yeah, I mean, it's quite telling that there's been a lot of chat in the group recently of obviously the game ahead, and it seems like we're a little bit nervous, I would say. It seems like, because West Ham have beaten us, and it just seems like we're a little bit on edge. Is it because we're now doing well again and we're almost waiting for that next draw or defeat? Or is it just because there's a higher expectation now?
It's because every game is so important. It's like it's just relentless. And yeah, I think well said. It's another must-win game. Every game is must win at this stage, because you can just so easily lose ground and you're out of the race. And also you've got to back up the Liverpool result. Again, a bit like no point winning against Forest if you can't beat Liverpool. No point beating Liverpool if you can't beat West Ham. And so I think that's where we are with this, and it's going to be like that until we're out of contention, or till the final end of the season, just because that those cheating bastards from City are still there, and they buy their way to their position, and they're not going away anytime soon. So it's just what we have to deal with. But yeah, that's the nerves. But if you look at West Ham, is they haven't won this year. They've drawn 3 and lost 1 in their last 4. They're not on great form. Yeah, I think Paqueta's out injured. Mikel Antonio's still out for a while. I think he might be back. Their goalkeeper Areola was 50-50, so we might have Flappy Hansky in goal. And then they've sold Benrahma and Fornals. They left in winter, so their team isn't great, and they've got Calvin Phillips, which, so what? So they are there for the taking. Again, if we're serious, we have to go there, show them who's boss, and do it. It won't be easy. Moyes seems to have the hoodoo on us. He seems to set up really well against us. But if we don't win this, then we're not a serious team, and yeah, anything can happen, but we've got to go there, dominate. Early goal is really important, and then let's see.
Sorry, Will, I just want to just quickly mention, like I said, since they beat us, they've drawn 3 and lost 1, right? So their home record as well, they've only lost 2 at home, which is interesting. They're almost in a dip of form at the moment, so I am quite concerned, and I'm even more so concerned now they have Calvin Phillips. I mean, I'm more concerned because I'm just worried that the West Ham players won't be getting their nutrition in, because Calvin Phillips is eating all the food in the cafeteria, right? I don't know if you guys seen that's in relation to the chant that the Man U fans were chanting at him, just asking him to show him his tits and stuff on Sunday. Which was pretty funny, and he obliged. He was a good laugh, good sport about it. But it was quite funny. People think he's fat, but I mean, if we all had bodies like Calvin Phillips, then I'm sure we wouldn't be complaining much about life, right? But yeah, sorry, Will. What were you going to add?
No, I was just sort of piggybacking off what Tab said. First of all, we're a very serious podcast, but I'm gonna go off piste for a little bit here. So I was obviously listening to you guys, but was also paying attention to the Grove group chat, and there's a poll in the group chat right now, and the poll is it's unbelievable. Who is your preferred number 1 as far as keeper goes?
Really? Are we really?
As we speak, it is 16-6 Ramsdale. And that
for God's sake.
What? Wait.
Winds me up a little bit.
Pause the podcast and let me just get into this chat.
You see what I'm saying?
What?
I am so bored of this. Oh, jeez, sorry.
I, I'm
I mean,
shocked.
Paul. I mean, Paul's supposed to be sick, and this is Paul's poll, so you can blame Paul for this.
I'm going to send I'm recording a voice note into the. We apologise this interruption of the pod, the West Ham preview, because I need to send a voice note into the Grove. So the Grove, I'm currently live on the podcast recording the pre West Ham pod, and I've been told there's a poll in the chat about who's everyone's preferred number one. Now, two things, as Whale rightly mentions, Paul is meant to be unwell and hence couldn't record tonight, but he's got time and he's well enough to put a poll in about number one keepers. And number two, how on earth is it 15-8 for Ramsdale? Can someone please explain? Send a voice note back so I can try to put it into the podcast so all the listeners know that not all Grovers are silly. I don't know who the 15 are, but you should be ashamed of yourselves. Okay, I've sent
It-
that into the chat. What I would say though, guys, is that poll was created on the 10th of January. I just realised,
okay.
so it might be a
No,
bit.
but people are still backing their
Talking
opinions
about it.
on this, man.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
As they say, opinions are like arseholes. Everyone's got one, and if they like Ramsdale, I think the Ramsdale thing is that emotional connection, and it all harps back to last year. The Liverpool game showed clearly the benefits of Raya. He's catching more crosses coming in, and his distribution is better. And that goal was not his fault. That's Saliba's fault. The Saliba deals with that. That's it. So yeah. Anyway. Doesn't matter what we think. What matters what Arteta thinks, and Raya's number one. So people just have to get used to that.
It
Yeah,
matters what the Grove think, though. Come on, Tab. It matters what the Grove think. If we vote unanimously for Ramsdale, he will start the next game. That's the power of the Grove.
He's starting Brentford, and that's it. That's it. It's just yeah. There we go.
Just to wrap up this episode, then I know we spoke a little bit about the West Ham game, and I think the more detailed analysis obviously will come after the game and when we record on Sunday night post match. What I just want to ask you guys a couple of questions. The first one is, your prediction for the game. I want to do this. I want to try doing this every week, and I'm going to offer a prize to one of you guys if you get it right. I'm not going to say what the prize is. But the next time I see you, there will be a prize. So, Whale, prediction for the game.
Oh man, I need this. I'm first instinct is 3-1, but I don't want to duplicate the last scoreline. But I'm gonna go 4-1. Boom.
Wow. Tabs?
Yeah.
I was. We're always optimistic. Whenever you're predicting, you always over predict either way. I was going to go 3-1. I was a bit disappointed at Wales, so I'm pleased Wales gone uber optimistic. I think we still concede when we shouldn't. I think we still got that propensity into us, but just as long as we keep scoring more than the opposition, fine by me. So I'm going to go 3-1.
I am going to say 3-0. 3-0 to the Arsenal is what the score will be on Sunday. And when we record, everyone will be. What do I get myself as a prize?
I don't know. Are you gonna stay with that scoreline, or are you gonna change it and only tell one person?
Good one. I like that.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say, so I just do a nervous laugh. So yeah, fair play, good comment. But no, honestly, and the other thing I wanted to mention was just very briefly on just touching on that whole Ramsdale Raya subject. I mean, Ramsdale's, Ramsdale's great, but I seen a stat about Raya's caught 10% more crosses that Arsenal have faced compared to Ramsdale last season. And that's huge because when you really think about it and delve into that stat a lot more, right, what you see is you see Ramsdale maybe parrying the ball away or punching it away, and then it comes back into the goal and it goes out and then it comes back in. But when Raya catches the ball, there's a potential for an attack to take place. And we've seen that a couple of times already happen.
Yeah.
So I just think that's one of the most impressive stats when, you can see stats as they are, there they are straight away, or you can just see stats in more depth, and that's just what I wanted to mention. Just it was
Yeah.
on my chest.
It doesn't mean we don't like Ramsdale. It's just
No,
Raya's a better fit for our team. That's it. This is the thing. Everyone makes it so binary and so. Oh, well, you must like Raya or you must like Ramsdale. No, everyone likes Ramsdale, but the better goalkeeper for what Arteta wants is Raya. End of.
it's funny. I'm going to close it on one note and one note only. I've just seen in the chat again, and people are now frantically changing their votes. So they don't want to be named and shamed in the next pod. I've got a screenshot, guys. I've got a screenshot, and it might be the cover. It might be the cover for the next episode. I've been Moz, your host, Tabs Whale. Thank you so much for joining us again on episode 5. We'll see you back here or wherever you get your podcast from on Monday morning for the West Ham Love-In when we're beating them 3-0. Thank you very much, guys.
Goodbye.
Get well, Paul.
Yeah, get well, Paul.